Girardeau.
All right.
It's home to the Christian Boxing Academy.
Boxing is just a way to, when you had a stress day, you can hit stuff.
Cape Central senior Eamon Giles has been part of the after-school program since it began 3 years ago.
When I first started boxing, I thought, oh, I get to just fight. Went in there just fighting. Got beat up. So you gotta learn, it's different.
Different, just like the program's approach to working with at-risk teens.
Boxing, the physical aspect of it, gives a certain amount of respect up front.
Danny Rees has been involved in boxing nearly his whole life. Now he's using his experience to teach life lessons.
We got all these kids, and none of them know what they want to be when they grow up. And we want to teach them how to think about dreaming and a job.
That's why before they were allowed to strap on the gloves, academics
We're not aiming for average grades.
and prayer take precedent.
Just continue to bless others, pray for others who need it. In your name we pray. Amen.
The faith-based program means something different to everyone involved.
It gave me hope, friends, and new people to meet.
It seems like everybody here is like a big family.
Providing new confidence and responsibility.
We, as the older kids, have to be a role model to them. Teach about respect.
This is a power. This is right here.
Boxing is giving Cape Girardeau teens like Giles new opportunities.
So the more you hear, it keeps you from the streets.
And a newfound pride in their community.
I don't want to hear no, I'm gonna shoot you this. I want y'all to get in the gloves and go. That's it.
Well, the program is free and put on by the Salvation Army. Any kids in 5th grade and up are welcome to attend. Live in the studio, Nick Chabaria, Heartland News.
All right, guys, tell us a little bit about you. Well, let's first go around and say who we are.
Maytag knows it can be easy to forget you've got wet clothes sitting in the washer. That's why Maytag has the fresh hold option. It keeps clothes tumbly fresh in the washer for up to 12 hours. So the loads you forget will be ready when you remember. Big news.
Go ahead, guys.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Mike Bowers. I'm the youth director at the Salvation Army.
Wayman?
Wayman Campbell from the Juvenile office. I do delinquent juvenile probation.
Kevin Grunwald, Deputy Juvenile Officer from Perry County.
I'm Taylor Wickard. I'm an intern here.
Caleb Buis, Deputy Juvenile Officer. I do delinquency court here today.
Robbie Bailey, Deputy Juvenile Officer for Bullinger County.
James Johnson, Chief Deputy here.
I'm Matt Kidding. I'm the attorney for the juvenile officer in the circuit.
I'm Randy Rhodes, Juvenile Officer.
I'm Danielle Thurman. I'm a juvenile officer here. I split a caseload with Crystal Thurman doing abuse and neglect.
I'm Pat Colin. I'm Chief Deputy, and I'm over court services.
Jason Reed, and I am over community services and truancy.
I'm Crystal McLean, and I split with Danielle on abuse and neglect caseloads.
Tim Jones, I'm a juvenile officer. I do informal adjustments.
Danny Reese.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
Pro
Great volunteer.
Go ahead, Mr. Byers.
Well, I'll let Danny start with the boxing program, which since we just had a clip on that, he's the ones that has the expertise
This
on
program basically has been in existence for 3 years. Mr. Bowers has got kicked in the head for 8 years. So he's been involved with kids for a lot longer than I have. Some of the kids that you've seen on that, he actually started with when they were 8, 9 years old. So a lot of them kids, when I came in, I retired. I worked at the university 30 years, so I'm a state retired employee. So you guys keep working so they keep getting that retirement check every month. But long time ago, I've taught MMA guys. I've boxed, and I love boxing, but I love the physical aspect, which we don't get to do as a society anymore. Everybody shuts that down. So that's something that was lost somewhere along the line. So if two young men get together, and you put boxing gloves on, there's a certain amount of respect you gain instantly with that, and the physical side of it. And then after that, you can show them that you care for them, you honestly care about their situation and what they're wanting to do in their life. That's worked very well. We've seen that over and over and over again. We'll get a rough kid come in, and he'll be mouthing Matter of fact, Amion, the boy with the long dreads, the first night that he came there, he told me he was going to beat me up. And I can't hit him, but I can put boxing gloves on and show him where I can, right? So instantly he changed his opinion about what a boxer was. And boxing and fighting is two different things. After we initially started the boxing program and seen it work, and we had kids in groves, we would love to have kids from first grade to 12th grade, and we had a lot of the first grade to 5th grade kids. But as you guys know in your field, that was the hardest ones to control, and we couldn't keep enough volunteers. We needed a volunteer for each kid. And so we're missing a huge part of that population right now that we're not developing anything with as far as life skills go. Mr. Bowers has a program on Wednesday night, and I assume the reason we're here is so you can tell some of your kids where they can go and do something. And I'll just say a little bit more about boxing. If you have a kid that's tough and rough and wants to play and wants that part of it, then send them to me. Send them to, I can take them to an MMA club as long as they can sign because I teach MMA guys once a month, and there's 6 pro fighters in there. So we can sign them up and bring them into an environment where everybody there is respectful, but when you say go, it's go. So if you have somebody in that thing, that's really the ones that I want that boxing to achieve, somewhere where they have to learn discipline with their anger or aggressions. The other part is our life skills part, and that's really the one that I think has done the best so far. And I'll let Mr. Bowers tell about that.
Well, Danny and I started together. I've been doing somewhat life skills for the last 8 years, but when Danny came on board, we were both like-minded, and it really kicked in. We had other people, Mark Diamond and different ones that went to different businesses. For 2 years, we went to mechanic shops, to banks, to restaurants, to this all over. And, the
dairy farms, sewage plants, water plants.
It talked to the bankers, the lawyers, the pro baseball scouts. I mean, this is a whole gamut. And so for 2 years, every Monday night, we went and we took the kids to different places. And so they learned what other businesses look like and what other careers they could go into. They were told what is required of those to get in those careers, what they needed as far as education and discipline and all that. And so they had some ideas of what they could do. Because a lot of the kids didn't have a clue. That's what they want to do. Well, they want to be all pro ball players of some kind, either football, baseball, or something, or and that was their career going to be. And if that didn't work, well, then they really didn't know what was going to happen. So we did that for 2 years, and then along with the boxing program. But like Danny said, we started first grade and up, and got too many, and so we had to go down to 5th grade. And then we had too many. So we had boys and girls together, and we'd have 25 to 30 boys and girls in dynamics. So that didn't work out well. So where we're at now on this is we've got Monday night we do life skills. We haven't been the last several months going out to business. So we have some people come in and speak, but every day after school, Monday through Thursday, they can come in and do homework. We divided up now where we use the Salvation Army facility and also the bridge down to Jefferson and Frederick. It's LaCroix Church's building. They're not using this for after school activities, so we were able to take that over. So we split up. We have the girls at one location, the guys at the other, which worked out a whole lot better. So that's on Monday night. The guys are at the Salvation Army, and the ladies are down at the bridge. And say after school, we give them snacks and stuff. And from 3:30 to 4:30, they're required to sit down and read and hopefully study and do homework. You can't make them study. You can't make them learn. All I can do is make them be quiet for an hour and look, and make them tell them they got to at least turn the page every now and then. It looks like they think they're studying anyway. So we give them that atmosphere where they can come and study if they want to. It's a quiet atmosphere. We have Wi-Fi, so they can get on their tablets at both places. We have Wi-Fi. So if they want to do their homework, they have a quiet place to do it. And Monday night, then we have different speakers come in. We feed them every Monday night, and there's usually for the guys on Monday nights they have basketball, and the ladies have other activities down at the bridge. They play games and things. We always get in God's Word and some kind of Bible study of some sort, which is this, teaching the morals from right from wrong. Tuesday night is the boxing program down at the bridge, and the ladies have our Salvation Army. They have the gym during that time. So if they want to they do a lot of arts and crafts, and they teach them how to cook and sew and different things like that. And that's where we can use volunteers. Anybody that's got any expertise in any of that with life skills, or teaching the young men how to do things. And Wednesday night is our character building. And that's from kindergarten on up. School's out earlier, so it goes from 3 to 5. The school's out like at 1:30. And that we do different things. We break them up in age groups. You have kindergarten below together, 1st through 5th, and the 6th and up. I do the 6th and up. And we've been to the conservation department a couple of times. We'll do, and it's a little bit, it's kind of some life skills type of things too. And there again, if anybody, any expertise on that, and that's a little bit crazier. We've got, have 40, average around 40 kids are on that night. And so we can always use more volunteers then. Then Thursday night, we're back to the guys are at the Salvation Army, and the ladies are down at the bridge. And we bring Monday night and Thursday night are kind of right now. We bring guest speakers in either night. We're going to change that from the first of the year. Thursday night's going to be geared more to leadership training. So, like I've been telling kids the last several weeks, it's time for them to step up. If they want to be leaders, they want to be involved, Thursday night's going to be time for them. It won't be for all of them. Some of them aren't ready. Some of them are just there to goof off, and they're there for the basketball or the boxing, and that's all they're there for. They don't want anything, they don't want to put any effort into it. So, and I don't feel we're really doing it justice for the ones that are really, we need to train some to be leaders. And so that's Thursday nights, come first of the year, is going to be more leadership training. So we'll have, if you guys want to come in and talk about what it is to be a leader and share your expertise, you're welcome to come. But we're going to get more involved in teaching. And we'll have the guys and girls will be combined that night because it will be a smaller group because they'll be required to do some reading assignments, some writing assignments. There'll be something they have to do to be a part of that. And now I can count, there's about 10 of them that are coming out of the 30 that would probably be willing to do that. Some of the younger ones, some of the 5th and 6th grade, they're just there to have a good time. They don't want, they show up after homework time. Homework's from 3:30 to 4:30, about 4:30, they show up. They know it's about time to eat. And if they come earlier, they don't show up with any books or anything. So that's going to be a little different. But anybody that that can come and help out on Monday night with their life skills, or Tuesday night with the boxing, and or Wednesday night or Thursday. Like you all know, the biggest thing is building a relationship with these kids. If every kid, if we had one mentor for each child, I know I'm speaking to the choir here, a lot of our problems would be taken care of. They want somebody that they know that loves them, that they can trust, that they can look up to.
Now you told me you made an attempt to bring the police in a little bit.
We've invited them, and I know they're extremely busy. One other thing, Wednesday night too, I didn't bring that up. From 7:30 to about 9:30 or so, have young men, 17 through 25, come there to play basketball. So anybody that's interested in playing basketball, know somebody that is, send them our way. I've invited really the police, especially for that one. I thought it'd be a good time for them to come in, hang out with that age group, and but they so far they really haven't. But I know they've got a lot going on, but if you know of anybody, if any of you guys are interested in that, but as a young man, and just to hang out, there's usually 15 or so.
Well, it was about a month ago. We had the judge wanting to play basketball. Took him to Indian Park, fed him hot dogs so he'd be even slower than what he was, and then played basketball with a bunch of our kids. Jason worked on it, so Wayman. I think he'd like to probably do that, so we'll be in touch with you sometime.
Yeah,
I have asked some of the guys that police officers I've trained, and so I asked a couple of them to come down, and they came one time, and as soon as they walked in, you could feel the oxygen go out of the room. It was instant, and my intent was for them to be there enough that they built a relationship, so it wasn't an authority figure anymore. It was just somebody else. To give you an example, when I started, I was 52 years old, bald, white guy. I'm no longer 52 years old. I'm no longer a white guy, and I'm still bald. But I'm Danny, so I can go in, and no matter what I say or what I do, they just think of me as me. And so I've spent enough time there to get that, And we've talked about this. How do we measure our success, or God's success in this program? And all I can tell you is that the kids are there. We have 17 years old, almost 18-year-old kids that still don't have a driver's license. Some of them don't have proof of birth certificate to be able to go get their permit. That's one of the programs we got going right now. We agreed to pay for their driver's education through Cape Public Schools. And, there's some of the things that goes on that I can't understand. The day I turned 16 years old, I went and got my driver's license. But our success is that these kids are coming there, putting up with what we put them through, whether they want to or not necessarily. It's not the food, it's not the basketball, it's because of the whole program that they get to go and be part of the family. They're not perfect. We take a lot of kids home that don't have electricity in their homes. That some kids got 12, 13 people living in their home. A lot of the kids are just really pains in the butts, and I wish you could hit them because I'd knock them out. And I mean that in a loving way, not in a bad way. But most of the time. But you know, if it gives them an opportunity and a place to go and a place to be, and a place to hear the word about God. But hear the word basically, I mean, you can talk about God in any situation as much as you want to, and I know we're in a state entity and can't talk about that much. But if we send them back to the same environment they was before, which is what we do and what we struggle with. You know, we say you can be a different life, you can be a different way, and you can walk this path, and it works, but it works for everybody that's had a place to be. And we're taking them back to the same place they was before, which you guys do all the time, and that's definitely a hindrance to us. You know, none of the boys have got a girl pregnant that we know of.
Hey, now there you go. There's one to write up.
You know, none of the boys has been that I know of in your system. You know, so that's 8 years of proof.
Yeah.
Now they're making all the right decisions, doing the right things, but a lot of times they have nothing to judge and base their new life that we're trying to tell them they can live. We would like to see them have better grades. Last year we did a program where a gentleman came in, Danny Lynn, you guys know him? He owns all the Domino's pizzas in Cape, and he is really...
Oh yeah, I know Danny.
He came in with a great program where he offered the kids $20 for their first B. First test, if they got a B, they give them $20. Second was $20 was for, I don't remember. He offered each kid $60, and there was 35 kids there. So how many of you think took advantage of that? You know, there was like 5 that got the first B, but none of the rest of them got it. And I never got that, you know. But basically, a lot of them, if they take that money home, they don't get to use it. Somebody else gets it. You know, so the money's it's not a push. We tried to start off with a dream. You make up a dream that you want, new bicycle, new whatever, and we're going to give you an opportunity to earn that. 0 out of 35, 40 kids, because dreaming is not something they understand anymore. And I don't get that. I'm still dreaming. You know, there's things I still dream of. That's where we can, by all of us getting together, can help me understand that maybe more. I don't know where socially that happens, but I would assume it's because they keep getting busted to the things they want in their life. Or somebody says, I'm going to give you this, and it never materializes and it never happens. So we struggle with that because we want to say, and the next thing we'd like to do is have a job program. And I want to go out, because work ethic is the biggest thing we're lacking in the nation. Nobody knows how to work anymore physically, just go out and move a rank of wood from that side of the building to that side of the building just because. And so you can't teach anybody to be a plumber. I was a plumber for 40 years. I started when I was 16 years old. And but I had an opportunity to go to work, and my dad had taught me how to work. So, you know, it wasn't a matter of any of that other stuff. You know, we took kids last year to an electrician, big union electrician company, and he told them, we can start all of you $80,000 a year. And that didn't compute of making 80 grand. All us state employees make way over that, right? So, you know, but it didn't compute to them when they said that. So, I'm learning definitely every day about what that looks like. But really, for them to just making the good decisions that they are making, we have one kid that's making on the A honor roll, and he's definitely going to be a leader, and he's going in all the right direction, doing all the right things, and he's 14.
Yes.
So he's got a couple more years to get over the hump, right? We got a boy that came last week. He's 9, he's 11, almost 12. It's raised almost 12.
Mm-hmm.
Still sucks his thumb openly in public. Lives in a home that's got 13 or 14 people living in it.
Got 4 different families in there.
Yeah. When I take him home, there is nothing in him. And he was one of the boys that when I boxed with, he was holy terror until we boxed. I got to box with him. And then boxing with him means I just put gloves on and we play. But after that, I had a rapport with him that I've never had before. So that rapport now can be, hey, Trey, stop. You know, this is why. You're a good man. No, I'm not. He'll tell you, I'm not. Yeah, you are. Everybody's good. You know, basically good. Your situation will put you in a position where you may not be able to stay that way. And So, anyway, any questions about that?
Anybody have any questions about the program?
What's the transportation like?
All the kids got to find their way there. We take all the kids home. So, Salvation Army, by the way, if anybody, I'm just 3 years into Salvation Army, and them little red kittles that sits out in the front has way more importance to me now than they did before. Because the money that's spent with Salvation Army is real money. We feed them, kids get fed 4 nights a week. Little Caesars Pizza donates every pizza that they don't use over and over and over again, and they eat pizza over and over and over again, right? But the little things that we take for granted every day, kind of like when you got somebody in the hospital and you don't think about it till you go to the hospital and visit with them, that everybody is at the hospital right now sitting around the emergency room instead of being here. Same way there. Salvation Army takes them vans and hauls 30 kids home 3-4 nights a week. So we all haul them home. Like on a Tuesday night, I get there at 3 and leave about 9 is an average night. And I'd say it's pretty average.
Yeah, most nights it's that late. And most of them get off the school bus. They're close to Salvation Army, so they have a way there. But then we take them home. Even Sunday morning, it's not, we don't pick them up, but they find a way there. We can get the kids there. Now, getting the adults involved, that's one real disconnect. So anybody has any advice on that? We can get the kids there. We can get them involved. They're trying to get the parents involved. I've tried all different kind of things and it's really difficult to get them part of it. So
how well do you do with the university? Because we have, when we have a job opening here for a juvenile officer, we'll have 100 applicants. And out of that 100, maybe 5 have actually done a lot of volunteer work or actually worked with kids. Yeah. So I don't even look at the 95. I'm looking at the ones who have a track record of frustration, working with the trays, and the other kids that you mentioned, that have day after day been through that. So are you getting any university kids in to volunteer?
We get some. They required to do certain volunteer hours in a lot of the classes. So we'll get them there during the time they do their volunteer hours, but we haven't anybody that really stays with it. They get their volunteer hours and they're done. And it's, I'm grateful. I love that they're coming and helping, but they're not real consistent. They'll be there for a while, then something will come up and they kind of fade off. So they do help. They come and they help tutor after school. Mainly the ladies. We have very few guys that do it. Mainly the girls, they come and help tutor. And but as far as consistently, we've got some out of that are not in school anymore. Quake, you can speak to that. Yeah. That are helping out.
We speak to a lot of university classes, so we always bring that up. We'll add you guys to our list of places that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever had anybody with a criminal justice degree come in and volunteer, ever. And I guess everybody at the Juvenile is criminal justice degree, right? For the most part?
For the most part.
Or social work degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we've ever had anybody from social work, have we?
They come and help tutor stuff after school. Yeah. They haven't really got involved in a program that starts helping day in.
And even if we don't get guys for guys, then the guys are hitting on the girls. I mean, I never figured that hormones would have such a big thing. Now, I got a girl pregnant when I was 16, and I didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in there going, man, you have a guy like a girl, and then they'd leave, and boom, it'd be over with, and then neither one would come back anymore. So
that's one of the reasons we split them up. It's a lot more effective.
Yeah.
Right. You can accomplish a whole lot more. Now and all the guys still come. We had a couple ladies that they're not coming anymore because the guys aren't part of the program. But the guys they're coming for the basketball and the boxing. I mean, that's our hook to get them there. And that's for most of them, not all of them. Some of them come just to hang out. But.
Well, let's see if at the first of the year we can throw this job training hook with the food sanitation class.
That would be excellent.
So I'd like to run it in this space for you guys with your crew. And some of my guys are going to be volunteering for the foster care kids on December 9th. We're running a group of them through. They're going to get their food sanitation class and get some talk afterwards about jobs and filling out applications and that kind of stuff. So we're going to expand into a little more jobs work here. So I think we can partner on some of that together. Yeah. And I don't know if we have any future boxers here, but as everyone knows at the table, Matt did a lot of hours with Project Charlie back when he first started, and just left during the day and worked with them and did some hours with them, and anybody here can do that too. You can shake your hours a little bit so you can help these guys out. But I think the main thing is we talk to a lot of parents that tell us there's nothing to do in South Cape. So this is something that, you know,
I wanted to add
we've
too, I
seen on
didn't finish
TV.
a while ago about my life skills and the work ethic thing, but my vision is that you would have a base of money produced by churches or state-run organizations or whatever, and then the work would be involved in, let's say that you needed help at your house. So you would have to socially make sure them people were good in one form or another. But I bring a young man or young woman based upon your gender that needs somebody, and we pay their salary as long as you agree to put effort, time, and a meal into that person for that day. So in other words, teach them work ethic, teach them about sitting down and having a meal with each other. You know, when we serve, we'll put food out, and if we just allow them, they'll devour the food like it's the last thing they're ever going to eat in their life. If they come to me and don't say please or thank you, I send them back to the start of the line. I say, look, manners are important. Now, if we know each other, it's not near as big a deal, but the first time I come in here, it's a lot bigger deal than it is the next. And I'll tell them that, look, well, I know you. I know that you're thankful, but somebody else doesn't know. So we do that on a regular basis. Look, get in here, do this, do that, and it's a revolving door, you know, the cussing. You know, kids nowadays at that young age is saying four-letter words and not realizing they're saying it. And of course, you've got a Christian environment. In the environment, we know that they have a desire to know Christ because you can feel it, see it, hear it when we talk about something. But their dialect, I had two boys who were in the Marine Corps, and it was the same way when they come on. You know, it's a right they hear all the time. What I think that I would like from you guys too is that I asked Mr. Bowers for advice because he's around it all the time. And just like that thing I just said about the job fair, every one of you's got an idea in your head when I said it of will that work or not work, right? Well, I want to hear that information because I've got only, you know, I'm volunteering, but I want my volunteer efforts and my hours to be as well spent as possible. I don't want to have to try something over again because I had to aimlessly go into it. You guys have got knowledge that I don't have. So if you got something, you get through Randy or get my number or whatever and say, hey, look, I think you're all wet on this. And I don't mind that. I would rather be all wet and be dry going into something as the other way around. I don't have to reinvent it. I'm going to go do it regardless. I'm going to get up. And I think that's the biggest thing that we can help do these kids is teach them to stand up when it's easier to sit down. You know,
Danny, do you have some ugly question here, but with your idea of sending somebody to somebody's work or house or something, do you have some liability protection for those folks?
Liability protection for them folks.
Because if a kid gets hurt, I'm thinking I've got a farm. I wouldn't mind working with a couple kids.
Last year,
if
Mark
an animal hurts them, then where am I?
Mark Diamond, you guys know Mark Diamond. He owns Andy's now, but he owns Schaefer Electric, and he's really an amazing guy. He bought a 420-acre farm because God told him to, and he bought it. He's building a big lake, and everything about that farm is going to be based upon kids for the most part. We took 15 kids out there and worked them for a day. He paid them $10 an hour, which is a huge amount of money for a kid to make, right? So if the kid didn't produce anything, we'd fire him and say, look, right now you're fired. So these kids are going to work at Hardee's and Burger King and McDonald's, and they get fired because they have no work ethic, and then they feel bad about themselves for getting fired. And what I'm basically saying is we need an environment, whatever it is. If that one doesn't work in that thing, then let's produce one. Let's have a court-ordered environment where a kid's got to go to my house and move wood from one side of the room to the other all day long with my involvement, because a lot of times I like that saying that we had at South Cape thing, whatever you do for me that you don't do with me is against me. And that's very true in all aspects, right? So I'm not going to ask somebody to move wood if I ain't helping move wood with them. So you've got to have the person that you send them to be involved in that. It can't just say, go clean the gutters. It's got to be you clean the gutters. The liability part of it, man.
I just wondered if the Red Cross, like if we have, with us, there's a liability understanding when they work with Jason and community service that they're covered somewhat. I wondered if Red Cross had something like that.
Salvation Army?
Salvation
No, not really. They're, of course, anything on premises, anything that when the staff takes them out to, that's sitting out like that, I mean, I'll check, but that would be doubtful. It's a good question. Mark, we were a couple of kids out there, one of them about wiped out an ATV, you know, and if that would have happened, actually, of course, you know the way law works, they don't sue anybody. They'd sue the Salvation Army. They'd also sue you as a landowner too.
Right.
And as far who would be liable, it would probably both. And so I don't, that's.
Well, these are hurdles, but we probably need a smaller meeting to talk about that. James has worked some programs like that for Division of Youth Services, talked about liability and talked about job skills, and he's worked that quite a bit. So we probably need to sit down and talk about some of that.
Okay. Even if there was a class.
You know, these kids, maybe they can fall under a different umbrella of jobs training, because we've had some different umbrellas show up in Cape before. Conservation Department showed up, and there was a liability clause. We were okay working, and it was our kids. You know, like you say, our kids. But they're not our kids.
But they are.
We're just providing services. But I get what you're saying. But you know, we were able to plug those kids in. So I think right now, these guys that meet with families can plug kids in. Maybe do some drop-ins, just check it out. I'll definitely have the judge playing basketball with you guys, and whoever else has a decent knee in the building. So
one more
Pat, you
thing on
can't
the
play.
job too. I did a test pilot last year. Okay, I found a landscaper in town that needed help. His liability covered the young man. The young man done had a felony. You guys probably know him. I won't say any names, but he'd already had a felony at 17 years old. I got him a job at this landscaper all summer. Okay, and I agreed to pay his salary even out of my pocket, because at this time it was just a pilot to see. Guy said, no, I'm going to pay him. Tremendously happy with the guy at the end of the summer, right? So then I can go to Dutch Enterprises, I can go to any place that's looking for a good apprentice and say, this person worked all summer, he was teachable, he knows how to work, he knows how to think ahead. Then I have something to bring to somebody. Just to say I want a job is no different than a kid screaming wanting something off the shelf at Walmart. You know, you've got to give something for somebody to know that it's there. And I think we've got a big element there that's missing. The Job Corps is one thing, and then that transition between them two is huge. Same as somebody just getting out of prison that's 18, 19 years old and does not have any more training than they did when they went in, and they're going to eat. So, you know, they're going to do what they got to do to eat. So.
Well, this opens the door. I just happened to be wandering around South Cape and thought, hey, it's Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to drop in and see these guys, see what they're doing. So a couple weeks ago, I stopped, and I knew Mr. Byers from all years at Salvation Army. I've dropped in on them a lot, but hadn't met Danny before, and was real impressed with the way you say the kids. They were doing their homework. They were on their laptops that the school provides, and there was work being done. I could smell it in the room. So that was a good thing to see. But I think we need to keep talking and keep seeing what we can partner with, and we'll definitely allow you to have a first aid CPR class in here, the sanitation card class. We'll start with those two things and see where it builds.
Those will be excellent. Both of them are life skills they need, because I don't want to end up starting out in the restaurant business in the first day. Everybody needs that, so those will be great, and so we'll definitely get them.
We'll start that. That's goal in early 2017 to get that going with you guys. Appreciate you coming in.
Right. Thanks for your time.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I forgot we was on camera. By the way, me and Tim was in the same grade in high school.